違うからね。
The second the three of us were alone in the club room, her expression changed. The smile plastered on the student council president's face disappeared. This was who she really was.
何が？
川原くんが言ってたこと。私が彼に言ったわけじゃないから。
別に気にしてないよ。
嘘。
Really, it didn't. Everything about me was different than it used to be.
まあまあ。で、何？副部長。話があるんでしょ
Kurusu sighed and changed the subject.
タクル、あなたちゃんとご飯食べてるの？少し痩せたんじゃない？
Huh? Where was this coming from?
これからどんどん寒くなってくるでしょ？住んでるところの防寒対策とかちゃんとしてるんでしょうね。
Ugh. Crap. She was in nag mode. Ah.
進路調査、結局就職で提出したんですって？進学で提出しなさいって言ったのに、勉強できないわけじゃないんだから。確かに今からだと厳しいけど、受験なら私が面倒見るってこれも前に言ったでしょ？
調べたというより話ってそれ？
どうなの？ちゃんと食べてるの？
食べてるよ。大丈夫だって。
I waved my hand to bring the conversation to a close. I didn't want this to end the way it used to, with a 6-hour lecture about how every aspect of my life was wrong, followed by hard labor as my punishment. Kurusu looked like she still had a lot more to say, but a moment later...
あなた、先週の金曜日、学校サボったでしょ？
Huh? Oh, so that was what this was all about?
サボったよ。別に問題ないだろ。
あるに決まってるでしょ？どこで何してたの？ストレージにアップした画像、あれを撮りに行ってたんじゃないの？
Damn it. I figured that would be it. She was right. The pictures I'd taken from the karaoke box were from last Friday when I'd skipped school. I started staking out the place early that morning and waited for the manager of the condo building to open the curtains.
苦労したんだ。でもおかげで警察以外まだ誰も見てない現場の画像を撮れた。
こういう事件ばかり追いかけるのはやめなさいって前から言ってるでしょ。
Kurusu was the vice president of the newspaper club and had been opposed to Ito's and my journalistic ethos for a long time. We'd spent most of our time investigating crimes in Shibuya, stuff like the attacks on the homeless people that had been flooding the city ever since the earthquake, and urban legends about a company involved in the rebuilding who'd put up tons of security cameras all around the city, and a serial arson case where the culprit had never been caught, and now these strange deaths. For her part, Kurusu said that a student paper shouldn't be investigating crimes. She wrote normal, sincere articles and made normal, sincere videos. The video about the Shibuya recovery efforts that had won a prize had been mostly her work.
タクル、今回あなたおかしい。学校をサボってまで事件を追うなんて今までなかったでしょ。
That was true. But the reason why was obvious, right? I was lucky enough to have this huge mystery right in front of me.
今回に関しては学校をサボるのもしょうがないよ。
なぜ？
だって新聞部を立ち上げてから初めて起こった渋谷での大きな事件じゃないか。こんな美味しいネタ。
おいしい？
That face was bad news. It was scary. Ito was right next to me, so I grabbed him and held him tight.
おい、縦にすんなって。え、縦なの？てか副部長、何その顔？
Yeah, I was gonna say, he's got a deer in headlights look right now.
おいしいですって？人が死んでるっていうのに？
Oh, jeez.
違います。すいません。
Are those footsteps? We're gonna die. Stay away from me. I really can't handle this.
押すなって。ちょっと待って、マジで盾なの？
やばい、やばい。
That face was seriously bad news. The Empress was scary enough that she could send a demon running in terror. I'd never even met a demon either. That's just how scary she was.
もう一度言ってくれる？よりによってあなたが人が死んで美味しいですって？
Oh shit. I needed to find some way to stop her. And then I felt the wind rush by my ears.
Eh? Ah.
And at the worst possible time, the wind blew through the room. Really? Kurosu didn't even have time to hold down her skirt. I honestly thought that we were flying through the air because she smacked us. What, tennis? My eyes were locked with Kurosu's as I heard the sounds from the open window. I hadn't even realized it was open until then. There was a tennis court on top of the special use building. That was probably the tennis team out there. I needed to say something. Was I supposed to tell her I hadn't seen anything?
副部長？
白なんですね。イメージ通りというか。
Oh, wow. Guess we're dead after all. Can't wait till Chapter 2 starts and we play as somebody else. Idiot, are you trying to get yourself killed? Yeah.
私の下着の色が何色か今関係あんのか?
I flinched at the sudden noise. I'm sorry. And then I realized. I was sure that the sound of Kurosu kicking the wall, or maybe the sound of her murdering Ito. But I was wrong. It was coming from deeper inside the room. What?
あの子はまったく。
She was just here the whole time?
和樹、来てたの？和樹？そうか、ヘッドホン。
Kurosu sighed and pulled off the headphones that Kazuki always wore.
円数2でイラついたからって壁を殴るのはやめなさい。何度も言ってるでしょ。
ESO2, huh? Abbreviation of Empire Sweeper Online 2, the sequel to what was once Japan's largest online RPG, MMO, Empire Sweeper Online. Like its predecessor, it was well received. While the vast majority of users have moved on to ESO2, the inability to transfer character data from the first game has caused a small number of veteran users to stay with ESO1. The game takes place in the fantasy world of Basilard, which is modeled after medieval Europe. Is this like PSO 1 and 2? Like Phantasy Star Online? I played the first one, but I forgot what the home or what the world was called. PSO is in like Algol, the star system. Doesn't really help me much.
Hmm. 壁へこんでるじゃないもう。
Hana Kazuki, the only first-year student in the newspaper club. But forget her, this was my chance. As Kurosu was rubbing the red marks on Kazuki's hand, I said,
とにかく僕は事件を追う。発見があったんだ。もしかしたら大きな手がかりになるかもしれない。
still wrong thing to say, dude. Kurosu glared at me for a moment, but...
おお、マジか。よし、すぐ準備する。聞かせてくれ。ぜひ聞かせてくれ。
Itto hurried over to the club's computer, desperate for any chance to escape his doom. I stared back at Kurusu for a moment and then...
PC 立ち上げてストレージの画像プリントアウトしてくれ。
了解だ。
Ito's voice was louder than it needed to be as he turned on the computer. Or as he said out loud, PC.
もう殴らないこと。いい？うん。
Maybe she took pity on poor Ito because she didn't say anything else, but she still crossed her arms and glared at us as she leaned against the wall. She was at least going to hear me out, it looked like. Or maybe this was just her way of making sure I didn't escape.
後で飯をおごれよ。なんで？やだよ。
盾にしやがって気まずすぎんだろ。こんなもん10-0の巻き込まれ事故じゃねえか。
それは謝るけど、でも今回はまだマシだ。手が出なかったから。え？手って副部長？
I nodded. Kurusu was the girl that everyone looked up to, but she was actually very short-tempered. It would take me more than 5 fingers, but less than 10, or fewer, to count the number of times she'd slap me hard. Really? When I told him that...
マジか。そんな、なんていうか、ありなの？そんなことする女子高生本当にいんのか？ヒスか S っ子手前じゃん。
I don't know what that is. Either of them. Good thing we have tips. Esco, a girl with a sadistic personality who enjoys inflicting pain on others. Extremely dangerous. And HYS? Hysteric. Okay. Originally a term used in psychology, but here used to refer to a short-tempered person who can't control their emotions. Is Esco like... Is it just sadistic? But I don't know what the co is.
ねえ、あなた方。陰口は聞こえないように言えって言われないの？
Oh dear. The almost hiss didn't even bother looking at us as she spoke.
いや、そのセリフを言ったことはあるんだけどね。それもついさっき教室で。
そう。
Ugh. And then she fell silent. She was scary as hell. It felt like if I moved, she'd kill me.
おごりだ。決定だ。大盛りにデザートだ。異論は認めん。
高校じゃん、今のは。
Actually, it was 100% Ito's fault for not keeping his mouth shut.
なあ。
What?
見たか？見たよな。
見てないよ。
That was a lie. Also, it's a really good thing we're still talking while she's right here. I'd seen it. They were white. Like I imagined, what's his name? Kawahara? I glanced at Kurusu out of the corner of my eye. I guess that really was just what you'd expect. Still, I'd only gotten a glimpse. It was entirely possible I'd been mistaken. If I burned the image into my brain now, maybe the next time something like this happened, I'd be able to react more quickly. So I prayed for more good luck. Really? If it ever did happen again, I swore I would react as a right-sider should. A right-sider wouldn't panic over something as insignificant as seeing a girl's underwear. You know what? I'm with you on that one. Like panic? For God's sake, dude. In a situation like that, it was critical that you stay calm. When she heard Ito turn on the printer, Kazuki trotted over like she usually did. Oh, what? That online game addict had the best computer skills of anyone in the club. I know what an addict is. Originally used to refer to someone with an uncontrollable addiction to a certain substance, usually an illegal drug. From there, it came to describe people who spend so much time on a particular hobby that it interfered with their daily lives. Examples include internet gaming addicts and Twitter addicts. Wait, I think they messed up. It's supposed to say tweeter, but it just straight up says Twitter. That's great. Gotcha. In any case, I'm feeling like I'm in a positive mood. At great risk to myself, because these scenarios, honestly, are kind of embarrassing. Whenever she was around, it was her job to run searches and organize the information on the PC, but...
Kazuki, 手伝わなくていい。この件については 部の活動と認めてないから。
Kazuki gave us a questioning look.
あと、そうなんだ。
Kazuki just said, like she always did, and walked away. Oh god, here it comes.
ほら、和樹、まだ手赤いわ。もっとさすってあげるから。
Even with an echo in her voice. Damn, we're going all out this time. Is she ever gonna say words? Kazuki obediently walks toward Kurusu. Kurusu took her hands and rubbed them gently, like a mother would.
痛かったでしょ？どうしてそんな無茶をするの？
Just, no matter what.
どう？まだ痛い？痛いの痛いの、飛んでけ
ー。Really?
カズキ、どうしたの？急に抱きついて。
We are seriously gonna get in trouble because of these visions.
甘えん坊さんなんだから。あ、もしかして私がしばらく部室に来られなかったから寂しかったの？じゃあわからないわ。ほら、私の目を見てちゃんと答えてね。寂しかったんでしょ？違う？照れちゃって可愛いのね。ごめんね、寂しい思いさせて。でも安心して、今日はずっと和樹と一緒にいてあげるから。私もあなたと一緒にいられて嬉しい。手の痛みはもう引いた？まだ？じゃあとっておきのおまじない。
Kazuki watched with a look of ecstasy in her eyes as Kurusu softly kissed her fingers. It felt like I was seeing something I shouldn't, so I looked away. Again, even in the fantasy?
和樹の指、細くてとっても綺麗。
おい、何ぼんやりしてるんだ？
Yeah, here we go. Oh, that's awkward.
いや、別に。
I chased the stupid idea out of my mind. Kurusu was nice to everyone, even girls like Kazuki who couldn't communicate with others. Of course, in reality, Kurusu and Kazuki had never done anything like that, and they never would. Kazuki put her headphones on and went back to the corner of the room. She started slamming keys again. I am genuinely concerned about what the negative images are going to be. I never did know how to talk to her. Actually, it felt like it had been forever since I'd even spoken to her. If you could call this a conversation, that is. She'd been part of the newspaper club for 6 months, and all I knew about her was that she liked games, knew a lot about computers, and hated talking. In the end, Ito printed out the pictures, and I took them and went in front of the bulletin board before Kurusu changed her mind. If Kurusu was going to listen, it was probably better to start at the beginning. She didn't seem interested in the cases, but if I ignored her and made her even madder, even using Ito as a shield wouldn't be enough to save me.
今、僕らが追っている事件は2つ。まず1つ目は、今月の7日に起きたニコニア生放送公開自殺事件。通称こっちみんな。場所はここ、神南。事件の内容は名前の通り、ニコニア動画で生放送していた男が放送中に突然自殺した。 厳密に言うと完全に自殺と決まったわけじゃないんだけど、死んだ時の状況からそう言われてる。名前は大谷優馬、21歳。俺氏未来が見えてしまう件についてっていう預言者もどきみたいな放送を定期的にやって結構アクセス数を稼いでいたニア生主。
TIL, today I learned.
でその状況だけど、まず放送中に大谷氏はコメントを設ける時間をとって一旦カメラ前から姿を消す。その後ドアがノックされて誰かが来たらしい音をわずかだけどマイクが拾ってる。聞き取れないけど何かを話す声も。そしてカメラ前に戻ってくると右腕が半分なくなってた。細かく切断されて自分が持ってきた皿の上に乗ってたんだ。そしてその指を自分で食べた。まるで痛みを感じていない素振りで。
That's so messed up. Kurosu's expression changed a little. She probably hadn't known that. The suicide had been big news, even on TV, so she'd probably seen it there, but the details had been so horrific that the news hadn't broadcast them. But those details could be found anywhere on the internet. It was only a matter of time before someone started putting it all together. The video itself had even started to get around.
そして少し経ってからいきなり苦しみ出して死亡した。見ていた人は事件として発覚するまでいたずらか何かだと思っていたみたい。
出血性ショック死な。警察の発表でもそうなってたし、混沌するまでの時間を考えても間違いない。
Ito added. Ito knew more about this stuff than I did. He was a fan of bizarre murders, and he'd read 10 times as many killers' diaries and non-fiction crime books as I had.
何らかの理由で精神が錯乱した上での自殺って見解が濃厚らしいけど、警察は自殺の直前に部屋を訪ねてきた誰かを探しているらしい。
Yeah, multiple
もしかしたら
people?
自殺幇助や自殺教唆の疑いがあるんじゃないかって。
In Japan, if you saw someone trying to kill themselves and didn't intervene, it wasn't a crime unless the police could prove you wanted them to die. But aiding in a suicide or encouraging someone to commit suicide was illegal. That meant that the police were probably looking for whoever met Otani just before his death. Kurosu was silent, but she was looking at the board and seemed to be listening. It seemed safe. On to the next case. Yeah, we don't know what this
2つ目は
was.
19日に起きた事件。死体の状況から音漏れ炭っていう通称がついてる。
Oh boy. Something happened to her ears or what? Because the blood only seemed to be in her hands and lap.
場所はここ、深セン。名前は高柳桃音、20歳。ニコニアの歌ってみたの歌い手で、最近ネットで有名になってきてるアニメソングのコピーバンドのボーカル。復興祭のステージで歌うことも決まってた。バンドの派手な衣装を着たまま一人でストリートライブもしていて、晴れの日は毎日決まった場所、決まった時間で演奏していたらしい。その日はいつもの場所にかなり遅刻して現れてライブを始めた。
So she did show up.
だけど何か様子がおかしかった。声が小さくていつもの感じじゃなかったらしい。そして結局ライブの最中に死亡した。こっちも失血死。ライブを始める前からお腹を刺傷していたんだ。
Huh. I know she was staggering and made it past people, but that's really weird. I guess she was under some other delusion and didn't realize what had happened, so she moved on like normal, like the guy who was eating his arm did? But like, what is this?
妙なのがやっぱり遺体の状況で。伊藤、再生してくれ。
Play the video.
おう。
Ito tapped a few keys on the computer's keyboard, and a moment later... Kurosu looked confused when she heard the sound. Evidently, she wasn't able to make it out.
ああ、そっちじゃなくて渋谷ニュースが音声いじってアップしてくれた方。
ああ、そっちだよな。
iTunes.
は、マジでマジで
死んでるって。マジで死んでるって。救急車呼べって。
Alright, here it comes.
ありがとう。ゆっくりしていってね。ありがとう。ゆっくりしていってね。ありがとう。ゆっくりして。
Huh. Her expression changed. She must have been able to hear it this time.
ありがとう。ゆっくりしていってね。常連のお客さんによれば、いつも彼女はこの一言からストリートライブを始めていたんだって。
It did mention she was going to do a recording of her own song so she wouldn't sing it live, so was that the start of that? A phrase often used at the start of videos on Nikonia. The phrase itself was originally a piece of ASCII art. Huh. But we're not going to define what ASCII is? That's what they expect you to know. They define addict, a regular-ass word, but not what ASCII is when people type letters to form pictures.
ニアドユーザーだからな。なんでも歌ってみたの歌い手の中では彼女のライブが一番だって最近評判だったらしいぞ。
Kurosu seemed to be ignoring Miyanoto. She was staring at the computer screen that was the source of the sound.
今のは
悲鳴は死体を発見したお客さんたちのもの。動画で撮っていた人がいたんだ。で、今のは高柳さん自身の声で。お腹に埋め込まれていた小型のスピーカーから聞こえてきたんだ。
Oh. Embedded in her stomach. Huh. Kurosu seemed confused, so Ito interjected.
つまり、その日のライブは最初から録音されたものだったんだよ。
Well, yeah, that's fair. We knew that.
後で発見された証拠によると、彼女はコンビニで売ってるカッターで自分で自分の腹を裂いて Bluetooth のスピーカーを埋め込んだらしい。
God damn. I know she said she was gonna pack the thing. How was it described? Did it say she put it in her shirt or something? But I guess she didn't realize she put it in her stomach? That's messed up. I'm not gonna tell you what ASCII is, but I'll tell you what Bluetooth is. A type of wireless communication, standard used by digital devices, allows for communication via radio waves in a range between a few meters to a few dozen meters, often used for wireless mice and keyboards for computers and mobile devices. Oh, whoops.
ガムテープで止血とも呼べない適当な応急処置をした後、着ている服と衣装でその傷を隠してライブを始めたんだ。最初は録音した自分の声に合わせてギターを弾いていたらしいんだけど、途中からは歌声だけになった。それからはうつむきっぱなしだったみたいだから、その時にはすでに死亡してたんじゃないかな。だけどお客さんは様子がおかしいとは思いながらも気づかずにずっと聴き続けて。彼女のポケットに入れていた携帯音楽プレイヤーが傷から流れた血液で壊れたのか、最初からそういう設定だったのか。とにかくさっきの音声トラックがリピート再生されるまで死んでいるとは気づかなかった。
Kurosu's face was a mixture of confusion and discomfort. Of course it was. She'd never heard of something like this. I couldn't hold back my excitement.
な、すごいだろ。
Oh boy. Instead of agreeing, Kurosu's brow furrowed. She probably didn't realize it, but she'd wrapped her arms around herself. What was wrong? Was that a little too creepy?
で？ここまでは単にこれまでの事件の整理だろ。発見ってのは？
Oh yeah, he was right. I used the computer to print out a series of pictures.
当然だけど、両方とも事件の目的はわからない。今のところ唯一の不審人物である大谷氏の部屋を訪ねてきた人間が何者で何を考えて 何を話したのかも見当がつかない。でも僕はこの妙な事件はまだ続くと思う。被害者の共通点からの推測でしかないけどね。
In common, there's only 2 victims.
は？マジか？
Ito leapt out of his chair in shock. Well, I couldn't blame him.
共通点に関しては散々話し合ったろ。分かったのは渋谷に住んでることとニア道のユーザーだったこと。
I wasn't even thinking of Nikonia. I was just gonna say they both had big audiences and were broadcasting.
あとはまあ2人ともある程度の知名度があって自殺した状況が異常だってことくらいか。
Yeah, there we go. While broadcasting.
でもそんなもんじゃそれ以上のことは何も見えてこなかっただろう。
気づかないか？別の共通点。
My concern is gonna be that we in the newspaper club, like it said Kurasu's video went kind of viral a while back. If we publish a big story, are we gonna be the next victims? I pointed toward the bulletin board as I spoke. Ito looked really annoyed.
偉そうにしよってからに。そもそもこっちの気を引くようにプリントアウトしてるやつはなんだ？
One of the best parts of finding something like this was seeing the angry look on his face. Well, it was only yesterday I'd found it myself, though.
じらさなくていいから。何を見つけたの？
Kursu beckoned for me to go on. No matter what she said, after hearing all this, she probably wanted to know what came next. Oh, it was done printing. Kazuki suddenly stood in front of me. She offered me the printed images without a word.
ありがとう。
Then she offered me something else. A lollipop.
くれるの？
She nodded.
どうも。
Kazuki seemed to be communicating in her own unique way. She walked over to the bulletin board and tapped the data printouts on the 2 cases with her finger.
和樹、どうした？
She did it again. I saw the part where she was pointing at and nodded.
そう。日付だよ。7日、19日。
Huh. I don't know if I understand the significance. They're both prime, but there are primes between 7 and 19. There's 13. There's 17.
共通点。9月7日と9月19日。渋谷で発生した異常な事件。わかるだろ？
One of them was the earthquake? I kept looking at Ito. Usually he would be the one to pick up on this. A second later?
Oh.
He froze. He must have figured it out.
うん。猟奇マニアのお前ならわかるだろ？
I pinned the images I just printed out onto the bulletin board's map.
9月7日、集団ダイブ。9月19日、妊娠男。
What?
9月29日、貼り付け。10月10日、ヴァンパイア。
The vampire-er?
10月23日、ノータリン。10月28日、うまい手。11月4日、ドキュンパズル。
ニュージェネレーションの狂気。
The name of a series of brutal serial killings that took place in Shibuya between September 7th and November 4th. In all, 14 people were killed across 7 incidents. The name New Generation Madness was created by the media at the time in reference both to the bizarre nature of the killings and the way the youth of Shibuya seemed to welcome and enjoy them. The dates and names of each murder are as below. All the stuff we just said. Yup. 6 years ago, in 2009, a series of strange deaths had occurred just before the earthquake that struck Shibuya November 6th. They became famous for the words left at the scene of every crime. Those eyes. Whose eyes? They called the killings the New Generation Madness. The murders took place in Shibuya, but the whole country took an interest in them. At the time, I was in 6th grade, and just like a lot of people, I followed every new development on the internet.
日付が6年前の事件とぴったり一致してるんだ。事件も自殺っぽいっていう内容はともかく、猟奇的だという点で同じ。
That's creepy.
偶然でしょ。
I mean, it's not a coincidence. I mean, I guess the implication is that they're back, but it could be a copycat killer, you know? She seemed to be trying to force the words out of her throat. Kurusu was acting a little strange. Her arms clutched at her torso even tighter.
副部長?
Maybe it was because of all the creepy pictures she's seen? Kurusu was clearly shaking. She tried her best to stop it as she spoke.
何でも関連づけて大きくしたがるのはやめなさい。2つたまたま一致しただけでしょ。
To be fair, 2 is a coincidence, but 3 is a pattern.
偶然かそうではないかすぐにわかるよ。ニュージェネ第3の事件が起こったのは9月29日。つまり
In a little over a week?
今日だ。
Oh, today is the 29th? Oh boy. Well, now I'm getting nervous. For now, it's time to stop the installment. Well, we certainly made a lot of progress today, didn't we? We got into some wacky fantasy situations, but it looks like the plot's starting to kick in. We found out what happened to the second character we observed in the prologue, and it seems that there was a set of bizarre murders a while back, and something like them may be coming back today. In fact, literally today. We may have a bizarre murder on our hands very soon. Until next time, everyone.